Today, you are joining Building Community with Hybrid Remote Learning. Our presenter again is Amanda Venturella. She's a middle grade CTE teacher with an ELA and social studies background, and she teaches at Owens Middle School in Buncombe County. One thing that Amanda has shared with us of interest is that during the pandemic, she's coped with things by reading every available tartan noir novel. And yes, I did have to look that up. So if you don't know what that is, be sure you look it up because it's very interesting. And that too, she bought herself a bicycle. The work around the tartan noir novels gave her bad dreams, and buying the bicycle resulted in a crash involving a groundhog and months of rehab for her knee. Quite an interesting story, and if she has time, she might share it with us at the end, and if not, you can email her and get the details. So at this time, I'm going to turn things over to our lovely facilitator, Amanda Venturella.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I also have pictures of the groundhog incident if anybody should so need photographic evidence. So today I'm wanting to talk to all of you about finding ways to connect your Zoomers and your Roomers. I'm going to go pretty quickly because I have probably more than I can talk about in 20 minutes. I'm so excited to see all of you here today because my worst fear is always that I'll do a presentation and nobody will come. I usually have dreams in anticipation of any presentation I do that nobody shows up. So I'm really thrilled to see all of you. I will tell you the most important thing or the most helpful thing anyone has said to me in the past year is Maslow before Bloom's. That has been super helpful to me. And so that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today is how to really finish strong this year by building those relationships with students and helping them connect with each other in a really meaningful way. So the first strategy I want to talk to you about is those low prep, high yield starters. There's so much research that says the most powerful thing you can do is to greet every student every single day at your door. And we're really not able to do that in the ways that we used to. But something as simple as a check-in every day is going to make a huge difference in how kids feel. They need to hear their name. And I think everybody's goal should be some point during your class every single day to have a non-academic interaction with every child every day. And a great place to build that in is either in the very beginning of class or the very end of class. So we're going to try one of these. I'm going to do a new share really quickly because I want to be able to see my presenter notes. Sorry, bear with me just a second. Okay, there we go. Let me go back. Okay, so we're going to try, let me try this one more time, guys. Sorry, thank you so much for bearing with me. Okay, so we're going to try a really quick low prep, high yield starter, camera on, camera off. So we're all going to start with our cameras off. And if your answer to my question is yes, then you're going to pop your camera on. So what everybody will need to do is change your view to grid view so that you can see everyone who's in our session. And we've got our, I'll turn mine off too. We've all got our cameras off. Okay, so if your answer to the question is yes, you're going to pop your camera on. So pop your camera on if you are currently a classroom teacher. Is anyone else in the group a classroom teacher? You're going to pop your camera on. Am I the only one? Wow. Okay. Pop your camera on if you are an instructional coach of some sort. Cool. Okay. I'm actually transitioning into that role next year as a digital learning facilitator. Awesome. Okay. You guys can pop your cameras off. Pop your camera on if you are some other role as an educator. You're not a classroom teacher and you're not an instructional coach. What is your role, Monica, if you don't mind me calling you out? You're on mute.
Sorry. I'm a grant coach, so I actually do the instructional part. I do money. I do a lot of different things.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So those were all really low stakes. So now I could try, if I knew you a little better, especially, I could try something that's a little more emotionally high stakes. I could say something like, turn your camera on if this has been a very challenging year for you as an educator. Great. And so if you know your students better, these kinds of things don't ever need to be high risk, but they don't always have to be low risk. And of course, you'd want to try to know your students well enough to get everybody's camera on at some point so that you're seeing every face. And it's nice to be able to stop and talk to at least one or two students while you do this activity. So thank you for participating in that. I really appreciate it. So that's a really easy one. And to not have to see that black square with just names and mute and the mute and the video with a bar sinister over them. Okay, so some other examples of low prep and high yield starters. I came across some really good last fall, came across some really good Google Slides templates that look like Snapchat games. So for the would you rather one that's on the screen here, the question is, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or fight one horse-sized duck? And we've had some great conversations about this, believe it or not. The kids feel like 100 duck-sized horses might overwhelm you. The great thing about this is that you can have kids take two pictures with their camera on their computer, one pointing up, one pointing down. And then anytime you want to pull out this one, it takes a little more time than the camera on, camera off, but they can just throw their picture into the example. And the great thing about it is, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to show my example. Let me go to my notes really quickly. I'll pull up the example. That you can look at this in grid view. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Let me get out of present. Well, for some reason, I'm not able to see my little link. Emmy, do you see my links at the bottom?
I do.
I'm not able to see them.
I can put it in there for you.
Okay. I'm going to screen share and see if that works.
I just put in alphabet races.
Okay, the one I'm looking for is the link for the Snapchat, this or that. Maybe I'll be able to show you here with the link. So what I've done with these is just link to these, but the great thing is if you open it up in, I'll just open up my Google Drive. If you open it up in your Google Drive, is that you can look at it in grid view and you're able to see what everyone did at once. And the kids are all able to see what everyone did as well. So let me open up my little folder here. Okay, I'll come back to that in just a minute. And then the Snapchat would you rather is here. The this or that is another one that's just kind of like where you have two choices. And then the Snapchat my face when you give kids a scenario and they sort of like quickly take a selfie of what their face would look like in that situation. And then lastly there are tons of Jamboard templates that really lend themselves to these sort of like quick, just connector community building activities. So I'm going to just quickly share that. Get my recent. Okay. So I'm going to throw this Jamboard link into the chat, and I'm going to have everybody try one of these. So there are 3 boards. And you can try any one of them, or you can try all 3. Okay, so that should be in the chat if everybody wants to jump in to our Jamboard. The first one is how would spiders wear pants? And with older students, I would probably have everyone's Bitmoji. My kids share their Bitmoji with me, and then I can just use it through the year. And they would drag their Bitmoji to the one that they voted for. You could also have them just do a little dot, but here I made little, I just used emojis, mostly animals, that you guys can drag to the one that you agree with. I also would love to, I think I would probably instruct my students in this case, I haven't used this one in a while, if they wanted to draw their own spider and have their own way, they could color the pants in the way that they think a spider would wear their pants. So if you guys want to try that really quickly, are you able to get into it? Is that Jamboard link working for you guys? Is it not working? Let's try it again. Share. Anyone on the internet can use it. Copy. Okay, try that. Awesome. There we go. So just grab an animal that you want and drag it to the diagram that you think makes the most sense. We have lots of great arguments about these. I'm going to drag mine to this guy. Does it say view only? All right, everybody do a refresh and see if that works. There we go. Love it. A lot of people like the 2 pairs of pants for the spiders. Awesome. Love it. All right, let's try the second one. You guys are ready? So I want you to use your text tool and quickly just put in a word related to remote learning. You can pick any letter you want. I'm going to pick M. Exhaustion, that's a great one. Insane. Can you hear me now? Yes. I think I'm going to do you're on mute for why. Three-ring circus, love it. Lonely, yes, for us and for the kids in a lot of situations, I think. Let's try one more. So this last one is one of my favorites. Take any song with the word squirrel and change it to girl. I think I'm going to use a sticky note. You guys use whatever way you want. Squirrel, you know it's true. It's great. Squirrels just want to have fun. I always get that one. That's good. Big squirrels don't cry. I like it. Those are fantastic. Squirrels run the world. California squirrels. My favorite one I've gotten from a kid was I kissed a squirrel and I liked it. I thought that one was great. Uptown squirrel, fantastic. Squirrel on fire, yes. That one makes me want to break out in song. Fantastic, I love it. Okay, so those are just some really easy ways to use a Jamboard. And this is one of those things that you can put up and they can just sort of be doing while you're getting your attendance and things done. And then you can sort of talk about it or have the kids. I always like to have the kids vote on one that's the best. And The Office is really popular right now. So we tend to, I have a lot of little clip art or that look like the Dundee trophies that they give out on The Office. And so we give out a Dundee a lot of times if there's a really good answer that nobody else thought of. So I probably would do Squirrel on Fire, I think, for this group. Who was that? You get the Dundee for the day. That's awesome. Okay. So that was our Jamboard templates. Oh, right there. I have the URL for them. Duh. Sorry. And then I have a link to those if you guys want to use those templates that I made. Okay. And then lastly, building the physical space of a classroom in a virtual environment. So these are all in Google Suite. The first one is an idea for designing your desk. I've done this with my classroom. This is one of my 6th grade boys' desks. And it kind of gives me a break from always doing Pear Deck or always doing Zoom where I'm sharing my screen and we're going through things together. This is a slideshow and you assign every student their own slide and that's their desk and they get to personalize it. So again, I can look at these all in grid view and then I'm able to see who's got a red sticky note on their desk. The very first slide is a whiteboard where I can put up my warm up for the day. If I have any links that I want them to go to, I can put them there. So it's kind of like a one place where we can all actually be together. It's not as nimble as using something like Google Classroom or Pear Deck, but it is occasionally, a couple times a week, a place where we're all in the same space, and it's wonderful. You save these every day. You save your original template, and then every day you open it up with your new warm up, your new agenda, your new learning targets, maybe a link or a video on your whiteboard. I have a desk that kids can leave me notes. And if you're absent, you can go and look at the warm-up from the day before and you can see what other people did. It's been really great. And I included a slide that had some clip art of plants and things that they could put on their desk. We're thinking about doing a class pet and having that in one of our slides. And we do a lot of stuff with zoo cams in my room. We watch a lot of aquarium cams and zoo cams on the whiteboard. So we might do like a zoo cam or something that we just check in on. And then design your locker is more just a fun individual things for the kids, but design your desk really starts to have meaning to them. And again, if you're looking in grid view, you're really looking at your Zoomers and your Roomers and what they're doing all at the same time. And there's so many ways that they can embed their work here and show their learning and access things that I'm posting in my whiteboard. And because I'm an elective teacher, I also teach a lot of students from a lot of different settings. I teach a lot of students from intensive intervention. That's one place where they're integrated into a regular classroom. And so this is much easier for them to have access to that classroom. So this is the last link there, the Google Classroom banner. You know how you can make personalized headers for your Google Classroom. I'm including in the materials I'm sharing with you all, this is just a template and you can make it a background color. But if you share your screen in Zoom and let the kids use the annotating tool, they can all write their name on your banner. And then you save it. I think I actually used my snipping tool while it was still up, so I'd be able to save the annotations. I used my snipping tool and made it into an image and then put that at the top of my Google Classroom. So then the kids like have their name at the top of our classroom. So that was just like a really nice way to make them feel like they have some ownership. So the template for that is there. And we only have a few more minutes, but I'd kind of like to try this together just so everybody can have an opportunity to see how it works. So I'm going to turn this on. Do you guys know where your annotation tools are? You've got a little toolbar. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I think I'll just do this way. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Just do it this way. So anywhere in this space, if you go to your annotating tool, you should be able to write your name. So I really like the highlighter. So I'm going to write my name on here. And you guys can try that too. All right. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I think the highlighter does the best. Or is that from drawing? Drawing. Yeah, that works really well. And then if you wanted to put a stamp on there, you could do that. And so then you would just use your snipping tool to save this because the annotations are not going to save inside this Google Doc. Thank you, Karen. That looks great. I love it. So one last thing I wanted to show you. I'm still annotating. Oh, I kept my annotations. Let's erase those. is just some little community things you can do, things that run themselves, but that get kids interacting with each other outside of class. So I have weekly challenges. This is an example of a weekly challenge. And again, we give Dundees and other kinds of little trophies for these. The worse the trophy looks, the better the kids like it, honestly, in middle school. But for example, this is make this potato look like a Disney character, and we had to guess who it was. We put these in a Padlet usually, and that way everybody can comment and vote things up. This one, the Dumbo one, is incredible, but this kid has an art tablet. She's probably going to be a graphic designer, but they turned out, they're hilarious and really fun to look at and enjoy each other's work. And that's something they all just did outside of class and posted just for bragging rights and to see who would win. I have links here to virtual spirit days that lots of teachers are doing with their Zoomers and Roomers. March Mammal Madness is a lot of fun to get your kids competing with each other and just talking trash and also learning something really cool about biology and ecosystems. There's also a lot of virtual magnetic poetry out there, and it even comes with a little refrigerator background that's really cool. And again, I think I told you that we use zoo cams a lot in my classroom because everybody likes looking at animals, and it's just fun to kind of keep up with what we've been watching the penguins at the Kansas City Zoo, and my kids love to keep up with like which penguins have eggs now, and they kind of think of them as their penguins now. So anyway, that's all I have for you, is just some digital ways to make connections with kids, but also help them get connected with each other. It's 12:30 exactly.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for that fun-filled presentation. Karen, I know that you have a question about how you're using the snipping tool in Zoom.
So I do Windows Shift S. So do that just quickly. Hold down your Windows key, Shift S. And then you should just be able to highlight the part of the screen you want. And it copies it automatically to your clipboard. And I just go ahead and paste it into a slide or something that I can then turn into a JPEG. Now, I still use the snipping tool in Microsoft in the apps as well. That one's a little bit easier to save as a JPEG.
I'm on a Mac, so I don't know if that shortcut will work for me, but I would probably just screenshot it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would save
and then
as a
crop
JPEG.
it.
Yeah.
Crop it.
Thanks, though.
There should be, it's actually I think it's a Chrome shortcut. So you'd have to be using Chrome with your Mac. So that's probably more trouble than it's worth.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Are there any more questions from folks before we sign off for the day? And again, we appreciate the fun-filled activities. I know that I've taken a lot of notes, and I'm going to go back and check several things out when I have an opportunity.